So before we get into the team a little bit, tell us a little bit about Mike Buslepp and how Mike Buslepp got involved in cross country.
I actually grew up not being a cross country runner. My family wasn't really into athletics, and I was always searching for something. So, I actually started off playing basketball and baseball, and baseball was my passion growing up. Uh, my gym coach, he must have saw something in me, and basically, saw me running around. And he's like, "Hey, you should just join the track team." And that kind of took off from there in middle school, and I kind of used running to just get in shape for my other sports, and then something along the way, my freshman year, just kind of clicked. And the thing I always loved about running, and this is the thing I appreciated most about it, I didn't have to pass the eye test with running. I didn't have to, fight to make teams. I didn't have to fork out, $5,000 or $10,000 to join travel baseball clubs or anything like that in order to like get my time in the spotlight. I earned it by going out there and pounding the pavement every single day. And it's one of those things where I just became enamored with it. And eventually, by the time I was a sophomore, I just gave it all up and decided to pursue that, all on its own. And they kind of carried me into college. I was okay in high school. I mean, I was an all-county runner. I qualified for state meets, never was all-state. My senior year, I believe I was 264th place in the states. Had a rough race, but it was one of those things where I was persistent to find a college program to take me on, and Wayne State took me on, and eventually I earned a full ride scholarship to there, with a lot of hard work and dedication. And I was on a team that finished, I was a varsity scorer from my sophomore to senior year, all those 3 years. And then eventually I ended up coaching there for 2 years afterwards. And while I was finishing up my degree, they liked me enough where they helped me pay for the rest of my degree and stuff. So it kind of worked out.
So that's how you got into coaching at
Yeah, so the Romeo, it just ended up working out. It was just kind of a blessing in disguise. I happened to run into the right people at the right time in my life. I actually had friends on the Wayne State cross country team that were on the actual. They went to school in Romeo, believe it or not. So like the Monsians, I knew Teresa Von Giovanni, who is still our school record holder in the mile. My best friend, Joe Verlin, went to Romeo. So I had a lot of Romeo roots that I just wasn't aware of. And then this job popped open for a teaching position in the school district, and ended up getting the job. And then wasn't planning on coaching at that period of time. It was one of those things where I was fully invested in just trying to engulf myself in the teaching world. I was more just focusing on my own training at that point. I was running marathons at that point and just, competing.
That's a long way to go.
Yeah. I've done 6 marathons today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I could maybe walk a marathon in about 3 days.
It's a fun race, but a hard race. Definitely, it required a lot of perseverance, and it took me until my 6th time to figure it out.
So that mentality, you have to coach boys and girls. They're a combined team.
Yep.
And how do you convey that mentality to them, and how do you manage them?
I just think just treating them like, just appreciating them for who they are and just appreciating their individual quirks and characteristics. I think, one of the things I've known just being around people is everyone's different. Everyone has strengths. Everyone has weaknesses. And really it's just trying to, build something together. So, and the girls are really, really good with it, and the boys are really good with it. I mean, we train together. We sometimes do workouts together. So, I mean, to me, we're one, big full team. But obviously, there's going to be certain girls I'm going to treat different than certain guys, and vice versa, just because of their individual characteristics. But it's all trying to reach the same goal. We're all trying to improve as runners, and human beings.
In the cross-country sport, like you mentioned before, you were talking about perseverance.
Yep.
And one of your runners, who's an all-state runner, Vincent Garissimo.
Yep, Garissimo. Yep.
Garissimo. Tell us a little bit about his story and what perseverance can get you.
Yeah, so Vince just came to me as a very, very quiet, shy freshman. And a lot of his runs when he first started with us were actually by himself. He didn't really have a training group or training partner. He was more like he was just trying to catch a training group. And a lot of his runs were solo. I know my wife, when before we had the 3 boys, I mean, she was running, with him, a couple of times. And it's one of those things where, we were just, one of the things I was really enamored with Vince is he just kept showing up. Even, going out there and kind of slugging his way through, 3, 5, 6 miles a day. Like, he kept showing up, didn't miss, and he just stuck with it. And then over the years of doing this and kind of believing in the training and the system, it eventually clicked, and he became a heck of a runner, heck of a leader, and he's only touching the surface of what he's capable of. I mean, he's one of the best runners, if not the best runner that we've ever had in school history here. And he started off as the last runner of the team. And I'm kind of enamored with, kids that start that way, because I was one of those kids. I was a shy freshman, last runner in the team, kind of had to scrape and claw my way to, get what I felt like I could possibly do. And it eventually worked out.